God is holy. That's the theme of the book of Leviticus. And because God is holy, God wants us to be holy. God actually spoke to Moses and Aaron about his holiness and his desire for us to be holy. It's a major theme and truth found in the book of Leviticus. Over 150 times holiness is mentioned in the book of Leviticus. As we begin to read Leviticus chapter 1 today, I recognize it's one of the most overlooked and least read books in the Bible. And yet, I want to underscore with you its significance and its importance. Over 40 times in the New Testament, the book of Leviticus is actually quoted. You might even recognize the golden rule found right here in the book of Leviticus. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or to love your neighbor as yourself. It's all found in the book of Leviticus. Holiness is cited so many times in this book. Remember in the book of Exodus that we just came from, God had given them the instructions of the tabernacle and given them the 10 Commandments. But when God was speaking to Moses, the people began to worship idols. Holiness has to do with being separate. And here God teaches us and his people how to keep the sanctuary or the tabernacle pure and clean, undefiled, to be holy and set apart. Secondly, not only does he deal with the holiness of the sanctuary, that is the tabernacle, he deals with the holiness of the priest. And thirdly, he deals with the holiness of God's people. Again, I want to underscore with you Leviticus chapter 11, verse 45. I am the Lord who brought you up out of Egypt to be your God. Therefore, be holy, because I am holy. God's sanctuary is to be holy. God's priests are to be holy, and even God's people. That is, they are to be set apart. Leviticus chapter 1 is where I've been praying and reading on my morning prayer walk. I just returned from the cold, dark morning hour, and it's so good to be indoors where it's nice and warm. The Lord called to Moses from the tabernacle and said to him, give the following instructions to the people of Israel. When you present an animal as an offering to the Lord, you must take it from your herd of cattle or your flock of sheep and goats. If the animal you present as a burnt offering is from the herd, it must be a male and be without blemish, no defects. Again, we're studying holiness in the book of Leviticus, and this handbook of worship deals a lot with offerings and sacrifice. We know in the New Testament, the Lamb of God without blemish is the Lord Jesus Christ. Bring it to the entrance of the tabernacle, so you may be accepted by the Lord. Lay your hand on the animal's head, as the Lord will accept its death in your place to purify you, making you right with him. Redemption, the plan of salvation. Let me read this important verse from Leviticus chapter 1, verse 4 again. We see Christ and God's redeeming power through the blood of the Lamb of his Son, Jesus Christ. In this verse, lay your hand on the animal's head, and the Lord will accept its death in your place to purify you, making you right with him. Verse 5, then slaughter the young bull in the Lord's presence, and Aaron's sons, the priest, will present the animal's blood by splattering it against all sides of the altar that stands at the entrance of the tabernacle. Here we read two of the main characters in the book of Leviticus. Of course, that is Moses and his older brother Aaron. We know in the book of Genesis and the first chapter of Exodus that these two brothers were from one of the 12 tribes of Israel. The tribe, the Levites, who become the Levites, who this book is named after. They become the priest working and serving in the temple. Verse number 6, then skin the animal and cut it into pieces. The sons of Aaron, the priest, will build a wood fire on the altar. Now the sons of Aaron are mentioned here in Leviticus. In chapter 10, two of his sons are going to bring strange fire. They will lose their lives for bringing strange fire to the altar. Verse 8, they will arrange the pieces of the offering, including the head and fat, on the wood burning on the altar. But the internal organs and the legs must first be washed with water. Then the priest will burn the entire sacrifice on the altar as a burnt offering. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Worship, offerings, sacrifice, an aroma that is pleasing to the Lord. If the animal you present as a burnt offering is from the flock, it may be either sheep or goat, but it must be male and it must be without blemish, no defects. We're talking about holiness in the book of Leviticus. Slaughter the animal on the north side of the altar in the Lord's presence, and Aaron's sons, the priests, will splatter its blood against all sides of the altar. Then cut the animal in pieces, and the priest will arrange the pieces of the offering, including the head and fat on the wood burning on the altar. But the internal organs and the legs must first be washed with water. Then the priest will burn the entire sacrifice on the altar as a burnt offering. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Again, we see this phrase, worship, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. If you present a bird as a burnt offering to the Lord, choose either a turtle dove or a young pigeon. The priest will take the bird to the altar, wring off its head, burn it on the altar. But first he must drain its blood against the side of the altar. The priest must also remove the crop and the feathers and throw them in the ashes on the east side of the altar. Then, grasping the bird by its wings, the priest will tear the bird open, but without tearing it apart. Then he will burn it as a burnt offering on the wood burning on the altar. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. The book of Leviticus is literally a handbook of worship. It deals with holiness. Another very important verse about holiness in the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 26. You must be holy because I, the Lord, am holy. I have set you apart from all the other people to be my very own. To be holy means to be clean. It means to be pure, not undefiled, and not defiled, but undefiled. Not unclean, but clean. Not impure, but pure. We know that gold is pure. We know that diamonds are perfect. That's what people are looking for. Living through a pandemic, we've become used to, well, things like this. I carry them wherever I go. They're antibacterial hand wipes. They kill 99.99% of the germs. You know what it is to wear a mask or be asked to wear a mask. It's a part of something that's happening in our world today as a result of the pandemic. Well, here in the book of Leviticus, because God is holy, he wants his sanctuary to be holy, he wants the priests to be holy, and he wants God's people to be holy, which requires both offering and sacrifice. We read in this book about the burnt offerings, the grain offerings, the fellowship offerings, the sin offering, and Leviticus introduces the tithes and the offerings, all of them as an act of worship that we might be separate, set apart, becoming holy before the Lord. The annual Day of Atonement is something that we actually understand better in our generation. Again, thinking of these hand wipes, we know that buildings actually shut down. Businesses shut down for what's called a deep cleaning. The Day of Atonement was that deep cleaning from the inside out. You read about it in the book of Leviticus chapter 16. I also want to underscore with you the emphasis about obedience versus disobedience. In chapter 26 of the book of Leviticus, God deals directly with the blessing of obedience and the curse of disobedience. If you read only one chapter of the book of Leviticus in your study time today, I would urge you to read and meditate on Leviticus chapter 26. Moses and Aaron are the main characters in this incredible book about worship. I think of Daniel, who described in Daniel chapter 1 about not defiling himself, underscoring the blessing of God. And because he chose not to defile himself, Daniel chapter 1 verse 8, God would honor that. He would become wiser and stronger than all the other candidates in the king's potential army. Well, we are reading through the Bible day by day. We're starting with each chapter. It's an overview. It's like flying an airplane across America. We're getting a perspective that we seldom ever get. Imagine that. You've read Genesis, Exodus, and today, the book of Leviticus. Father, we bow our heart before you. You are a holy God, and you have a holy people. We are that priesthood today. We recognize that we are your chosen people. Oh, Lord, bring to our heart and our spirit what it is to worship you, what it is to live a life that brings about a pleasing aroma. Our worship and our praise and our lifestyle, like Daniel, we would not defile ourselves. Open the windows of heaven and pour out your blessing this day on your people in Jesus' name. Thank you for making reading the Bible your New Year's resolution. God loves you, and so do I. Keep reading the Bible each and every day. Be blessed.